Hello, I am Lise Colucci, and I am one of the life coaches at queenbeing.com, where we help you to discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. Hello, hello, hello. How was everybody today? Who's in here with me today? I don't see anyone coming in yet, so I'm just going to start talking. If you have not subscribed to this channel, hit the subscribe button. If you would like notifications of when I go live, text me at 33222. Put the words Lise Live, Liselive, in the text, and I will, all one word, and I will send you a text about 5 to 10 minutes before I go live. And if you enjoy this video, please hit the thumbs up button. And so with that, let's get started with today's topic, which is toxic shame. I think most of us understand what that feels like, but let's go over what it is and what it feels like and ways to heal from that. Okay. So, and shout out to Erica. She knows what I mean. So, hi, Jack. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So what is the shame? What is shame? What's toxic shame? It is, well, it's a part of yourself that you have disowned. Okay. It's a way of disowning part of yourself. It is a negativity that is a judging of yourself when you think you've failed or you've not lived up to a certain standard. That doesn't mean it's a standard that has any validity in any reality that is your current place you want to be with your life. It's usually a throwback to a standard that isn't even a standard you yourself really care about living up to. It's somebody else's programming that put it there, right? So it's a feeling of inadequacy, worthlessness, a blaming of self, for taking on the blame for other people, even taking on the blame for toxic shame. Hi, Stacy. We're talking about toxic shame that one feels for oneself and how that's set up from toxic abuse and what to do. So hatred for oneself, the feeling of wanting to hide, anger, guilt. Let's see. You might feel undeserving of love and undeserving of connection and not able to feel validated, or you don't feel that you have the right to feel validated. All right. People who have been programmed from abuse are people who are most likely to feel this, right? Because it's from the being repeatedly told that you are not worthy, that your feelings are not valid, that your actions are wrong, so on and so forth. We repeatedly told that, especially as a child, but even as an adult, you can have your self-worth broken down to where you feel a sense of shame. You feel that you own all the wrong that has happened to you, as if it's something that's your fault. Therefore, it is shame, right? You struggle with this daily. Okay. And tell me what you experience, or if you want, or what you might want help with it. So we can have a dynamic conversation here. Anyway, let's see. So you might feel the feeling of letting other people down, letting yourself down, kind of this guilty, shameful feeling that I've let someone else down. I've hurt. You might feel that you hurt other people's feelings a lot, or that you might have aggression that comes out of nowhere and feelings of rage, even toward yourself or toward situations that feel doesn't feel like anger. It has a different quality to it, right? Cannot read what I wrote there. You might have control issues with things like eating or sex or other things that you can actually over-exercising, under-exercise, things with your body. You might have control issues there. And, well, there's other things that I can't read that I wrote. Because that's what happens when I do this, but that's okay. All right, so let's read what you guys are saying. My mom, hi, Gwen. My mom always told me I would not be able to have a relationship because I was either too selfish or sensitive. Right. It's ideas that are placed into your head that are not Well, they're one person's opinion of what they decide to place into your head because they don't have good communication skills or they are toxic themselves, right? It was all my fault as at 8 was very codependent. Yeah. Hi, Iraq. Grace is saying maybe I didn't teach myself the codependency, but I have to take the responsibility for my actions and decisions, healing from it, but there is shame involved. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, how do you take responsibility without taking on the burden of the part of other people's of being accountable for other people's actions, right? There's a line there. Does toxic shame mean you are taking on someone else's shame that they projected onto you? It is when the shame that you have for yourself, everybody feels a sense of shame now and then. I think it's partially, we feel guilt, we feel shame. Everybody understands what that word means. If you say, I feel ashamed, I don't think even a narcissist could understand what the word shame means. Thing is, they just don't hold accountability, so they hide from it. Right. But I think the word itself, they wouldn't be like, what does that mean? I don't understand. Maybe like truly psychopathic people might, but for the most part, people know what shame means. But toxic shame is when it's getting in the way of your life and it's the way you cope with yourself. It's the lens you're viewing yourself through. So it becomes, you're being toxic to yourself. In other words, through viewing yourself with this shame. Does that make sense? If I've done something wrong and I've approached professionally, I literally have to go fight the crumbling feeling. Just that crumbling feeling, is it a body sensation for you? What is it for you, Jack? How does it come about for you? Because it almost has a physical sensation, doesn't it? For some people anyway. Let's see. What am I missing here? Sex is part of the shame, right? It can be. Hi, Karina. I was always told I was too sensitive, says Iraq. As a freaking 10-year-old kid, my father telling me I am antagonistic, belligerent, troubled. And the thing was, I wasn't. He was looking down on me. Yeah. And antagonistically asking me, why are you so antagonistic? So he was projecting onto you his own antagonistic qualities, right? Okay. So yes, you see how it's set up. It's literally programmed for you to take on the blame of other people's projections onto you. And that's the part where we don't need to hold accountability. We need to hold accountability for our actions now once we are able to see what it is we do that's hurting ourselves. It doesn't mean we could fix it overnight, and it doesn't mean we're responsible for the shame being put there in the first place. So it's kind of both. All sorts of toxic shame, and I'm trying to decipher. It's hard. All right, talk about it. What is going on with you guys so that I can give you some ideas or talk about it a little more in depth and personal. I'm reading here. He'd hold his hand over my face to see how long I could go without breathing. Oh gosh. Yeah, body sensations, huge. Okay. Grace says, I guess my shame is currently toxic as I am nervous to apply myself in my career. I'm ashamed I didn't get further along in my life while dealing with all the traumas. That makes sense because it's affecting the way you're viewing yourself and it's disallowing you from furthering your growth, right? So, okay, so let's go on. So we're talking about how it's set up. It's set up because of the emotional abuse, the physical abuse, sexual abuse, any abuse really, but it's set up from abuse that is usually something that has to be hidden or something that you're forced to take on as your own, right? So we know that when we have narcissistic parents, that we are, as children, forced within ourselves in order to survive. If you're an empath, if you're a sensitive person, and if you're not also on the path to becoming a narcissist, you take the blame of the abuser, you take that on and you hold that shame as your own, and you hold that their behaviors as your fault. So you take it on as if it's your fault. You're not perfect, therefore something's wrong with you. I'm here to tell you there ain't one perfect person, and I even didn't say that perfect. No one's perfect, okay? There isn't a perfect person, but when you're raised by someone who's a narcissist, you're expected to be perfect and to attain some sort of perfection that is their ideal, right? And so what sets that up is fear of the lack of survival in a child. The only way to survive it is to take the blame and endure it or to hide from it. And so you can see which direction that can go. All right. You're ashamed to tell people your age. So what's going on with the shame with you guys? What does it, how do I want to ask this? Let me just keep going. Maybe some questions will come up. The narcissistic parent tried to project shame onto you by saying you are too sensitive. Correct. Yes. I bet wet the bed till I was 10. I still have hangups about being smelly and I have to pretend. You see, it's all of these shaming things. So, okay, why do we believe it? Why do we believe it? We believe it because it's been grilled into our brains, right? And so it's a brain thing. A lot of it is recreating new neural pathways to have different beliefs, right? Isn't this sounding a lot like what we talk about all the time, which is our beliefs, right? Okay. So in children, when they are raised with a toxic upbringing, and also if you've been in a long-term narcissistic abusive relationship, or even a short-term one that's really intense, it's a response to somebody else's disgust, disapproval, or devaluing of you that you take on as your own because you are trying to please, people please, recreate the love bombing, recreate the good from that other person. If you don't take it on, what will happen? As a child, it's a matter of survival. It really is. As an adult, it's the trauma, and you're trauma bonded as a child, but as an adult, you are you're trauma bonded, and so you are going back to trying to recreate being the perfect whatever supply for this other person, and you're taking on their toxicity as your own fault, and it just creates this belief in yourself that you need to do that for the whole world, right? That nothing about you is right or perfect or good. So, okay. So let's talk about, instead of for right now, instead of talking about what has happened, let's talk about where it's taking you now and how it's affecting you now, because the trauma of the past is in the past right now, okay? And the whole point of what we're trying to do here is to move forward. And it's super important to air the past and to understand where we've been. But for the sake of the hour, let's try to talk about how it is affecting our lives now, and what are some ways to find ways away from the toxic shame and toward a more thriving mindset. So, you live life with secrets. Okay, so Jack, I'm hearing about you. You're feeling like it's the secrets, and you're not feeling genuine. That's set up. So how can you create authenticity in your life? I think you're working toward that, right? But for the sake of just talking here, how can one who feels that they live with secrets and they're not feeling genuine because of those secrets, and that is then creating shame within themselves, how can they create a life of authenticity that allows for themselves to be themselves? You don't know how. Well, you're doing it. You're working on what? You're working on healing, number one. You're off doing an adventure that is something completely different than you ever lived before. That is way more authentic than living the lie that they have told you to live, right? So, well, let's just go into ways to heal from this, and we'll go back if anyone has more questions. So one of the major, huge thing is we need to learn to create a compassionate mindset toward oneself. Okay, you feel shame for the adventure. Who are you trying to please? Who are you trying to please in all of this? And where do you fall in that? Because you were homeless twice. But you're not homeless. You have yourself, right? And so you hide. Okay. And you're doing your thing. You see, from us, to us, it's an adventure that you're doing. To you, it's shameful. Isn't that interesting? It's a mindset. You don't know who you're trying to please. Hi, Shastina. Haven't seen you in a while. Hello. Anastasia. Hi, got it. Hey, folks, popping in. Okay, good. Okay. I guess maybe sharing in places like this, breathing deeply, reminding myself that it's not my reality, but those are tools in my deep self, and it doesn't really believe. Anastasia says, "Oh, Owen just saw your first reply. My mom's okay. And it's good to keep hearing that. It helps. Okay. All right. So connecting with yourself. So let's look at it in from what the toxic shame feels like, and then ways to work with each piece. Okay. How about that? Because it's kind of it's pervasive, isn't it? It's a pervasive topic. It's not something you can just like put a Band-Aid on and fix, right? If you have to piece by piece work your way through it. But it's all the same answers. It's self-love, self-validation, meditation, relaxation. It's all the same answers, but let's look how it applies. So if you're looking at something like feeling undeserving of love, connection, or validation, those are all things you can give yourself. And through giving them to yourself, I'm going to answer Bonnie's question, which is how do you create new neural pathways? Through giving them to yourself, you're creating new pathways in your brain. It takes time. It takes like months and months of doing this. It's not like you do it twice and you get new neural. Think about how long it takes to go from completely atrophied and out of shape to a strong and healthy muscular body. It takes time, right? It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to happen in a year. It can take a long time, but I think it's about 90 days to begin the new neural pathway. I'd have to look it up again, but I think it's about 90 days to create new neural pathways. But that doesn't mean that once you've created them, you get to stop working on the thing. You got to keep putting energy into it to solidify that neural pathway, right? And make it become automatic. And it does work. I mean, anyone who's tried doing things, anyone who's learned anything new realizes that you can create new neural pathways. So, and we've created them in a negative. We just have to make the positive more interesting than the negative. And right now, the negative emotion is pulling so hard that it's way more interesting to the parts of us that aren't like trying hard to get out of it, right? So, connecting with yourself through understanding, listening to what you tell yourself within the shame, and validating the feelings that go around that without believing in the feelings. Does that make sense? Like I can fully validate if someone tells me I feel worthless, I can fully validate to them that I hear that they feel worthless. I am not going to agree with them that they are worthless. Does that make sense? It's like that. I can fully tell you, Jack, I feel you. I totally understand that what you're going through is real and that you feel shame for this experience, but I'm not going to say that you're right. You should be shameful because it makes me laugh to say it because it's not true, right? So validating yourself through telling yourself, yeah, this is what I'm feeling. And it's giving yourself what you've been needing. You need someone to hear you because we're not heard when we've experienced something so bad that it creates this kind of shame. We often don't feel heard by anyone, and we feel validated in a place like this, and then we go away and we have to come back to something like this to feel validated again, right? So give what I'm giving you to yourself. Does that make sense? The validation that this is all real and it happened, and it's how you feel legitimately, but it's not right. It's inaccurate. It's not logical. Okay. Your feelings aren't wrong. They're real. The truth of them, like you have nothing to be ashamed of. Truthfully, you don't. Okay. Just because just because you exist does not mean you need to shame. I can remember the feeling that it was shameful to exist. And that was the weirdest realization of why would it be shameful to exist? That doesn't make sense, but it was real. Okay. Society doesn't help with this. That's the other cause. So let's go back. I'm kind of jumping around here, but so It's set up from parents. It's set up from toxic partners. It's set up from society. Society is very critical of everybody. And the reason they're critical of everybody is to sell things generally and to create control within a society. So we could go into that and my feelings on it, but you can see how it doesn't help that the way society is to how the way we are to one another within society. So we have to create labels. Labels cause issues. We need to understand things, and it is helpful to know a diagnosis but labels that are shameful, like you are wrong, you are name calling type of labels that you've been told in your life, those create, you'll never amount to much, that kind of thing. Oh, she never lives up to her, well, what is it? They never live up to their potential. They're not trying. They don't put in the effort. They don't try hard enough. Those kind of labeling generalizations about a person that we've heard all our life to help set up this toxic shame, ridicule, obviously, and being human, the belittlement of our efforts. That was great, but next time you should, that kind of thing. And society sets that up. Schooling sets that up. Parents set that up. That's why so many people have shame, and to the point where it's almost toxic, right? But when you've had it from abuse, it can be it's the lens you're viewing your whole self through. And this is the breakthrough to self-love, right? Releasing this toxic shame. On the other side of that is an enormous amount of self-acceptance, which leads to a greater ability to have self-love, right? All right. How do you deal with society hideout? You don't it's not about hiding from abusers. It's not about hiding from society. First of all, you choose your influences. And you could go back to the video on emotionally safe people versus unsafe people for that one. But also society, you can apply it to society. Is this a group of people I want to be in? Is this the influence I want to be around? Do I want to hear this kind of, I don't like being around just groups of people who can only talk negative about other people. I don't like it. It feels toxic, and it makes me feel shameful that I'm involved in it. So I don't go near it, right? I walk away. So that's a society way I would deal with it. It's not hiding. It's just choosing an influence. I'll go do something else. Go to the movies or go do something that's not in that situation. Anything that you feel is going against. Okay, so when we go against our moral compass and what we know is right and good for ourselves, it can set up an internal pattern of shame because we're going against the thing we believe in. So when you're in a society, in a group, out in the world, whatever, and it's making you feel, or a friend or a partner or whatever, dating, it doesn't matter. When you're up against something that is making you feel like you are not presenting the self you wish to be because you're in defense mode, you're having to hide things, it's not allowing for the authenticity of who you are. I mean, we can't be 100% authentic all the time, right? That'd be kind of a crazy world, but we can aim toward a more authentic way of relating to other people. And if the other person if it's making you feel like you have to put on all these, then step away. That's not hiding. It's just choosing your influence. Is that making sense? All right. My father especially loves to direct a certain flow of gossip. Oh yeah. My shame, Anastasia says, my shame stems in a major way from the fact that I was unable to work because I was trapped in an emotional and financial abuse. Doesn't work on the job market or in social situations. Truly makes you feel like you have to make excuses, lie, or end up over-explaining, which isn't desirable or professional. Okay, so then to me, it sounds like you need to own your worth in that situation. You're not the value of the things you couldn't do. You're the value of the things that you are and that you can do and your capabilities. So I would start working on understanding and fully owning your capabilities, even the teeny tiny ones, like the fact that you can articulate very well to me what's going on with you, and I'm able to hear you and give you a response, means that you can communicate well, and that in one paragraph you were able to explain something that's going on with you very succinctly. Whether or not I'm able to to hear you through this format in like 100% accuracy is on me, but you are doing an excellent job of communicating. So right there, you have a quality that is very desirable in the workplace. All right. It's owning those pieces, I think, to help with your self-worth. Whether it gets you the job or not is not the point. The point right now is the self-worth, right? And not letting the shame pull you under, but rather starting to lift yourself up. A lot of this is that we are so pulled under by it, we're not lifting ourselves up. Okay. Say it again. That's hard for me because I go off stream of consciousness. What did I say? What did I say to you? Say what I said to Anastasia again, Shastina. I said, let me read it again. Okay. This is how the brain works. Okay. I was unable to work because I was trapped in emotional. I said that instead of looking at the pieces that you can't do and the pieces looking at what you were trapped in and looking back at your past and the unable, how I was unable, how you were trapped in a situation. And yes, that wasn't your fault, but it created a sense of shame in you about yourself. And explaining that becomes over-explaining and excuse-making, or you feel like it's over-explaining and excuse-making, which is very unprofessional. Instead of focusing there, I'm saying focus on your qualities that make you a worthy candidate in the job market, one of which is the ability, and I just pointed out an ability she has, which is that in one paragraph, she explained to me something very succinctly and very clearly so that I could reply to it, which means that her communication style is very clear. And hey guys, and my dogs want to answer for me. Oh my gosh, can school start, please? Because okay, you got. Hey, Oswald, shh. And here they go. Mom, no. Hey, Oswald, sorry. We'll just pretend this isn't happening. Hey, pup. Shh. So anyway, that's what we do, right? Okay, back to this. So she was clear. She was communicating. And those are qualities that are desirable in the workplace. So it's finding the ways that you succeed in life to help override the feelings of negativity towards yourself. It's the same as any kind of pattern interrupt or shifting of belief. You have to look toward the belief that's leading you in the direction you want to go, like we talked about yesterday. If you're looking at the ground when you're jump on a horse, you're going to land on the ground most likely eventually, right? So looking toward where you want to go instead of where you've been to help lead you into a better mindset for these interviews and for the job searching and changing in your life. That's what I was trying to get at. I hope that made sense with all the chaos. It was not a cop at the door again. That was funny. I don't know what that was. It was for somebody else. He and I just stood there confused and staring at each other. And I'm saying, I don't know who this person is. I'm sorry, officer. But yeah. Then we had a nice talk and then he went on his way. So, all right. So affirmatively and personally. Excellent. I'm glad that helps. Okay. All right. I'm glad you love the puppies. They're making me a little crazy lately because of the barking. They're really quiet in the winter when there's no one here. But all right. So what else? So this is really about forgiving yourself and accepting yourself. It's all of it, right? Forgiving yourself, accepting yourself, realizing that you cannot fix what was. You cannot go back in the past and fix what was, and you could not have known what you didn't know. So there's really nothing that I just want to say there's nothing to be ashamed of, right? If you think about each and every one of the people in here, or people watching, or just people, do they really have anything to be ashamed of for what has happened to them? No. But the shame has been placed there. It's a belief system that has been created. And so I come back to over and over again, changing your beliefs, changing your patterns. I can't do the visualizations in here because it's not the right format, but it is useful to have someone help walk you through looking at shifting your beliefs by gaining perspective. So the more perspective you can gain around things, the more room there is to change your mind. This is the thing. We don't want to change our mind, right? We talked about this the other day. We don't want to change our mind. We don't want to. We do want to. We want to with all of our everything. We're here trying to do that, or you wouldn't sit and listen to me for an hour, right? But we don't really want to, because it's scary. We don't know how. It's not an overnight thing. That this didn't work. That it's tricky. So okay, we do, but we don't. Yep, because these beliefs the beliefs we have held us and it carried us this far. There are survival mechanisms. To let go, that'd be like asking a soldier to lay down arms, right? You can't. You don't ask, everyone put your weapons down, or these are defense mechanisms. These are literal defenses. These are our shields that guard us and keep us safe. They're also self-sabotaging, and they're turning inward toward toxic, and they're becoming inwardly toxic. So, or they already are inwardly toxic. So it's a double-edged sword, right? Okay. It's hard to change the whole paradigm. You know what? I'm going to say it again. I say this whenever someone says it's hard. I say, yes, it's hard. It's okay that it's hard. Lots of things are hard. Mountain climbing's hard, and people do it. You know what I mean? Like, anything worth having isn't necessarily easy. Doesn't mean anything worth having has to be hard. I don't believe that. But things that are worth having, if they're hard, my answer to that is, so okay, then what? So it's hard, then what? We have to let go of the fact that it being hard is what's stopping us. Does that make sense? And kind of laugh at it a little. That of course it's hard. We're asking about shifting an entire perspective about ourself, about who we think we are. We don't know who we are till we let go of this shame. We can't see what other people see. That's what's the most frustrating part from where I said I can see it in any client or any person that comes. I can see the potential of who they are. And I can see when they're talking to me who they want to be, right? And if I could just project that outward so they could see it. But you can't. You have to see it for yourself. We're creating a whole new personality. We're allowing our personality that's in us to shine. That's how I see it. It is a little like creating a new personality, but I think it's already in there. I think we're allowing the good that's already, because other people see it, Bonnie. Other people see who you are. Other people see your goodness. We can't even listen to it or believe it half the time. Sorry. My goodness, it's a noisy day. All right. Anastasia says, Grace, I'm a few months away from 40 and frustrated, full of unproductive shame about where I am and how far I've fallen, and built a good, safe, narc-free life for so long. Okay. I do morning affirmations too. Let's see. Do you guys ever do them in the night and then do them again in the morning? I like that. Do you do a gratitude list plus 3 things you love about yourself at night before bed, and then read it again in the morning so that you set your intention before you go to sleep and wake up to it? That's one thing. I'm shuffling about and poorly multitasking too. But what are you doing right? Okay, so do you guys look at what the to-dids instead of the what to-dos? Do you look at what you did in a day and look at the good things that have come from the fact that you're on this planet? Because there are plenty that each of you have. Downloaded an insight timer and a goal for doing AM and PM meditations. That's good. Meditation is the first thing I have. Mindfulness is the first thing I have on my like what to do list. Mindfulness in practice in 5 to 10 minute meditations, as you suggested, Katrina. And also mindfulness in your day. And I think I talked about, I can't remember what I talked about because I've had groups since then. Somewhere I talked about paying attention to what's happening around you. So, okay, maybe you get toxic shame in public. Let's just make up a scenario. Someone gets shame when they feel like they're maybe keeping the line too long by fumbling to get their money out, and they feel shame. They feel embarrassed about whatever. They feel uncomfortable, ashamed, embarrassed while they're doing something in front of other people. And if you know this about yourself. So number one, you got to understand what it is you're doing to yourself. And if you know you're doing this to yourself, then set something up ahead of time. So say it's something that has to do with, I don't know, say every time you go to the grocery store, you get embarrassed at how long it takes and shame for how long it takes to pay because everybody else is waiting. You feel like everyone's mad at you. And then it's we have these things that come up that are like that. And then you fumble more and then it takes longer and then this and then that, and it makes it worse and worse. So if you know this is going to happen while you're waiting in line, set something up. Do the thing where you look for 5 things of a certain color. Pick a color before you go in. I'm going to look for 5 blue things. So I'm going to look for whatever. And get into your body and pay attention to where you're at and be present. And stop listening to the emotions that are screaming at you. Because what's happening is we're believing the emotional life more than we are the life that's actually happening. We're making assumptions that other people are mad and upset. And we're making an assumption that actually matters. Half the time, if someone's upset with you, that's their problem. More than half. That's their problem. Right? It's theirs to deal with. Sometimes we do things we need to apologize for. Mostly it's people just being impatient or having their own bad day or whatever. So we need to stop taking on the responsibility that for other people's, we're not accountable for other people's emotions. We're accountable for our own, right? Unless we're doing something deliberately or accidentally harmful to someone else. And then we make amends and we apologize and we talk it through, right? So if you're having these situations where you know something's coming up, you know it's going to happen, set something up ahead of time. Don't just wait for the shame to hit. And if it does hit and you're in it, go back to that mindfulness in the moment. Come back to the sensation of what it feels like to stand on your feet, what it feels like to breathe, what it feels like to, anything that gets you away from the emotional side of things. I think that's the most useful for me. It helps me not believe in the emotion quite so much in the moment. Okay. I never think of not taking responsibility for others. I think that's the root of a lot of the shame. We're taking on so many people's stuff because we have been told and taught to survive that if we don't take on the blame for other people, that something bad will happen. And it's easier and it's smoother if we just take it. Yeah. All right. Okay. I'm going to read what you guys are saying. My difficulty is sharing my pleasedness of who I am with the general public. Not sure how to get the confidence back again with being present with others. Surround yourself with people who think you're pleasing for a little while, or allow the discomfort to be there and the pleasedness. Sometimes you have to hold both. Sometimes it's toggling the emotions sometimes between, okay, that feels good. Oh, this is really embarrassing. Start giving compliments and watch people, genuine, simple compliments. Like, Jack, you do a great job telling us what's going on with you. I appreciate it. Other people appreciate it, and lots of people heal from hearing it. There you go. There's a compliment. Totally honest, real, take it. No shame. Right? And if you feel shame from like calling you out publicly right now and giving you a compliment, hold both. Because what I'm telling you is my truth to you. It's a gift, okay? And is, I'm not saying it to embarrass you. It's not, and you may feel shame at the same time. It's okay to have both. So what? So nurture the part of yourself that needs the nurturing then. I was just given something affirming. I was just given something validating. Okay. And you don't have to listen. We don't have to, it's the thing. It's sort of like when you have pain. Like say you have foot pain and you have to walk, to the corner. If all you do is focus on that pain, it's going to hurt really bad to walk to the corner. But if you can kind of try to focus on your breathing and try to focus on other things, you can make it to the corner. If you focus on something positive, you may actually have a decent experience walking to that corner, right? It's where we're placing our attention. We place our attention always back onto this shame because it's so loud. So you got to make other things louder. And that's, I think, how you change the neural pathways, is letting the quieter ones that you're trying to create get louder and louder inside your own head. Okay. I was raised that acknowledging I'm good is something is tooting my own horn, is egotistical and boasting. It makes accepting praise difficult. It does. Okay. So maybe take that phrase and rephrase it for yourself. Find the light in it. Does that make sense? Like, if I don't know what types of things that you are good at, because I don't know you, but if it's, say you're musical and you do something musically well and you feel like, oh, that was I did that really well. That no mistakes. It was very emotive. I was good. I was right there with it. Be present to what you're doing. Being present to what you're doing helps take the ego out of it. I'm not sitting here thinking I'm doing such a good job, or I'm doing a bad job. I'm just talking. I'm trying to be present to what I'm doing. There's actually until I'm done, there's no actual emotion going on except for being present to what you guys are talking about. Does that make sense? And because I'm present to what I'm doing, which is mindfulness in the moment, the shame of sitting here talking publicly on YouTube, don't get me thinking about it, but no, seriously, the shame of like how that could actually feel embarrassing and shameful to do, right? You can imagine, is not present because I am focused on you and I'm focused on what I'm doing so that I'm not just sitting here saying nothing. Does that make sense? If you're able to get more mindful with things, you actually can get out of that shameful place and allow good to just be good. Why do we qualify good and bad? Because we were taught to. It doesn't really mean anything. There is no good and bad. They're qualifiers for what you want to do next time, right? To me, well, I didn't do too well at that. Okay, that means I need to boost up here and drop some of that, and then maybe next time it'll be the direction I want it to go. All right. Am I rambling? I always have to ask that about now. Okay, so I don't know. All right. I guess it's not possible. Wait, I like it, but I guess it's possible to do ones that aren't so unbelievable. Okay, you guys are Okay, good. I'm not rambling. Thank you for the reply. All right. In my family, acknowledgement of good meant that they were going to try harder to take me down. So how can you work with that, Stacy, to allow the good? Or allow the positivity? I'm curious what you think. What would help you in that? Because that's a belief that, well, you're saying that in your family, that if you did well, that meant they were going to take you down. Can you see areas of your life where that wasn't the case, not unrelated to your family? Can you see a different path? That if you do well does not necessarily mean someone's going to take you down. Sure, there always could be someone out there waiting to take someone down if they're doing well. There's haters everywhere, right? Haters gonna hate, isn't that what they say? But can you see other examples? I think this is another point. Look for examples that prove differently from the way you feel. Look for examples where you genuinely help people. Look for examples where you were genuinely happy about something you did. Or someone where you notice someone giving you the validation back or mirroring back to you that was a job well done, or that you tried hard, you succeeded and nothing bad happened. Nobody took you down. Look for examples like that to help bring your focus into the positive rather than going back into the shame. Shame it's pulling us under, right? So we got to swim on top instead of treading water or drowning, right? And the way it's moving forward and looking outside of it and away from it instead of back into it. That's why it's toxic, right? It's pulling you down. Otherwise, it would be useful, which it isn't. Okay. Hi, D. Religious toxic shaming turned me off from any of it. To the family, I'm a huge disappointment and destined to hell. For me, I'm the most authentic I've ever been and the happiest. Yes. How did you get to that point? I'm curious what helped you let go of the belief that what they were feeding you was a lie, was true. Does that make sense? I think that's what we have to understand is what we were fed was lies. And the shaming is somebody lying to us about who we are. We don't know who we are until we let go of that shame, until we see outside of it. Maybe we can't let go of it 100%, but until we see the difference of who we are. Still, we see ourselves as people who truly see us. And that's why when we're like authentic with a friend, it feels different, right? Because they're actually seeing us. And if we could see ourselves the way they do, or the way, it's like I said, if you could see yourself the way I see you, you guys wouldn't feel shame. Okay. Let's see. Back to difficulty accepting praise. I was also raised that people don't give compliments unless they want something. Okay. And I get this. I felt it. I understand this very well. It's true a lot of times. People lick your boots, right? People praise in order to get. People give to receive. This is true. That has nothing to do with you, though. It has nothing to do with your worth. It's back on them. That's their problem for being manipulative. That doesn't mean we're going to get manipulated. We're going to get people. It just isn't. It's going to happen in this world that somebody's going to be manipulative to you, and but it's how long we take it for and the amount we let it in and how we let it affect us that we're trying to heal. Does that make sense? Because this world is never going to be full of people who are non-manipulative and non-narcissistic and non-toxic. There's a lot of them out there. And even good people can do that. I mean, you might catch it in yourself sometimes, that, oh, I just did that thing I hate that other people do. And that's okay. It's just kind of the way it is, right? So it's getting where what you're saying there doesn't affect you. Not that it would, because yes, that is totally, you can prove that. So you can also prove the opposite. There are plenty of people who maybe all they want is the feeling of giving the gift of a compliment, that's okay. It gives them something good. It's win-win, right? And that's okay. So there's both. And neither one is about you. It's about them. Okay. My narcissistic sister okay, here's the thing. We're so, she says, Bonnie's saying my narcissistic sister uses a sickening, that's a lot of S's, sickening amount of flattery to hoover people in. And so we're taught that flattery is manipulation, right? Yeah. But again, that's about your sister. So, and there's another thought, take the gift of the flattery, walk away and don't give anything back when you know it's a manipulator, right? You're so lovely. Look how pretty you look today. Yep, thanks. And walk away. You don't have to give back just because someone's manipulating you. It's learning to be responsible for your own emotional reactions to things too. This is a lot. This is a big, like, grown-up topic, right? All right. Okay. I feel the difference between a genuine compliment and an ass kissing. Good. That's good. And acknowledge that to yourself that there are both and that you have the capacity and the wisdom to understand the difference for the most part. They slip through. It's okay. It happens. But understand that that is a strength you have that shows your worth. It shows your value to yourself. It shows you have your own back and you have you have an understanding. And therefore, any shame you feel around the topic, a little piece of that can let go, I think, because you've proven that you can see the difference to yourself. Does that make sense? We have to look at the things we're doing, the efforts that we're making. If we don't acknowledge the efforts we're making, only some of them are making it into the bucket. We have a bucket we're trying to fill, right? We're trying to fill this bucket full of drops of things that we're doing to help improve our lives. And each drop starts to fill the bucket, right? But if we're messy and we don't look and we're not paying attention, we may miss the bucket. Does that make sense? Like, you got to acknowledge what you are doing, acknowledge the efforts that you make and the way that the efforts are affecting your life. You can see the difference between a compliment and one that is disingenuous. That is meaningful. So let it have meaning and let it be a drop in the bucket of your own self. Let it validate yourself. Okay. So many of, hi Mo Cowboy, so many of it just did its thing. Where'd it go? Where'd you go? So many of the religious users of toxic shame to kill en masse. They appear to seem satisfied or get pleasure from other people. Okay. Well, yeah. We can't worry about other people, though. We have to worry about ourselves. We can't worry that people are going to do this because they are. People manipulate. There's toxicity out there. The point is to not be doing it to ourselves, not about what other people put into us. That's already done. And moving forward, we have to stop pouring that toxic shame back into ourselves, right? And being aware that it's out there and that it is pervasive in society as well as individual and family situations. It's not just a toxic parent or a toxic partner. Being around that. So how can we accept compliments and feel good about ourselves? Did I miss something, Kaylee? Hi, Kaylee. I think I missed. Oh, where are those people? Yours is all spread out. I have to find it. Where's the beginning of that? Where are those people? I think it's something that I said that you're replying to here. But let me try to answer this. How can we accept compliments and feel good about ourselves? The way I worked with it, this was years and years and years and years ago. Okay. I could not take a compliment. I would battle every compliment that came my way, every single one, no matter what. Even if I knew what they said was true, like, you got the answer right. Like, there's no, 1 + 1 is 2. And they said, good job, you got the answer right. I could argue that, yeah, but that was easy. I would downplay every single piece of complimentary material thrown my way, any compliment, anything. I had to hold the fact that it felt like shame, take a deep breath, look at the person and realize they were genuine. They were trying to offer me something. And it was a view of myself that I can't see because I'm buried behind this shame. And I had to let logic override my emotions, take a deep breath and let the breath, when it came in, say, I accept this. I accept this compliment. Thank you. Whether or not they were trying to manipulate me didn't matter because I didn't need to fall into the manipulation. Does that make sense? Like, yeah, if someone's love bombing you and it's sickening, then you walk away. But if it's we can't live our lives worrying what other people's intent is every single second, especially in less personal relationships. In a personal relationship, then it is useful to ask what their intent is or to know, oh, they're being toxic, they are manipulating me, or, oh, they're very genuine. And as I can't remember who said it above, you can start to feel the difference between genuine and disingenuine. genuine and not genuine compliments. So that's what I had to do. I had to let the feeling be there, and at the same time, I took my okay. So we want to put our awareness on ourselves, right? But sometimes we got to take our awareness off ourselves. I think we have to look to the experience of the other person who's speaking to us as well. We don't know what their experience is, but you know what I'm saying? How if we're just so self-focused because the shame pulls us into like this, it's like being on what do they say? Like under the microscope. That's what it feels like. Like everything feels like everything is pointing to that shame. So if you look outward and you become mindful of what's happening in the room, what you're present to, be more present to experiencing the other person's compliment rather than your reaction to it, that's what helps. I don't really know how to explain that any other way, except for that you just play with it and try things like giving. I would give compliments a lot. I do anyway, but I would deliberately give oh, those are cute shoes. Things that really don't matter. Nothing that's going to embarrass someone else or make them have to go through this whole toxic shame feeling thing too. But wow, I did the blurry thing. Okay. But yeah, I would give compliments, and then often not to get them back, but often they came back. You know what I mean? Giving them and doing it in a way that is honest helped me realize that people aren't always out to get me when they are, because I wasn't, I was just appreciating something. Appreciating yourself helps. Appreciating the things, like I said earlier, appreciating the things about yourself that are positive. Trying to see yourself through the eyes of those who love you. It's tricky. Those who love you who are not toxic. And if there is no one and you really don't, use your houseplant. Use your dog. My houseplant sees me as this caregiving nurturer who gives it water. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be super personal, but those are positives. And you can see yourself as a nurturing, caring person because you care for the houseplant. Does that make sense? And then the shame is in the background. There we go. I got a thought out. Okay. We're so used to narcissists complimenting us with ulterior motives during the love bombing phases. Yes, and that's what I'm saying. We do have to learn how to discern when someone is toxic, right? I'm not saying we should take every compliment from everyone in the world and then like take it as if that's what holds our self-worth together. But the being able to take a compliment oftentimes from non-toxic people is them giving you a little glimpse of who they see you as. And it is often a piece that we're not willing to see in ourselves. And we really, if we could, it would be lovely. Okay. Having your own back instead of worrying about, it jumped. Okay. If I don't touch it, it's good, but I touch it. I can't help it. Okay. Did I just lose you? Where did it go? I think I'm here and I'm not here at the same time, aren't I? Am I here still? Am I on? I cannot even see if I'm here. I am. Okay. It's totally delayed. I can't watch what's going on here live anymore. That was weird. I don't know what I did, you guys. And this is going to be weird because it's delayed. So I'm talking, and when I see myself talking, it's delayed. So okay, I feel like I've entered another dimension. It's kind of fun. All right. I don't know how to make it work right, but I'm just going to keep talking and not look at what's going on. And I wish I could hide it now. Sorry, this is so strange. It's like you watching yourself in delay in the corner of a screen. Okay, what was I talking about? Let's talk. I'm glad. Okay. I just see your picture that says live stream, and it keeps buffering, but the chat's going. Oh, weird. Okay, I think we're going to end in a second because I don't know what's happening I don't know what happened with this. I didn't touch anything. It just like Welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy. It booted me out and then let me back in, but it's all on delay now. Oh, so strange. Okay, enough. Okay. But shouldn't we compliment the other person though? Well, what I'm talking about is being able to not feel when we feel shame because someone's complimenting us, not so much what we should do for the other person. Okay. I'm fine there. Okay. All right. Get me on another time. You guys are, I'm going to have to look here and stare. I'm just going to stare at the camera. How's that? All right. This kind of random, but I went out on a date once and later after getting home, I realized my dress had 2 small holes in it and it couldn't have been missed. And the guy had seemingly genuinely complimented me on the dress since then several times. And to date, I render him a healthy person. What is that about? He probably just didn't want to point out a flaw and he was being polite, and probably the dress was cute minus the holes, and he didn't want to point out the negative because you still looked beautiful in your dress anyway. Let's if it is a positive person in your life, I would see it like that. Because you know what? Some people don't mind the flaws. And here's another thing, to say, Anastasia, is that who was asking me that? Kaylee, if I said to you, I think you're beautiful, that doesn't mean I think you're perfect. Okay. You may have a big smudge on your nose and I still think you're beautiful. Right? Perfection and compliments aren't one and the same. That's how I see that. So this person probably, if they are a genuine good person, and you said you do render them a healthy person, then they probably were seeing you as the whole. Not, we're used to being told that's a really pretty dress, but you have 2 holes in it. We're used to having things knocked out from under us. So, okay. You couldn't tell if it was sick or twisted or polite. Probably, if you render them a safe and healthy person, it was probably not even that. It could have even just been, I don't care if there's holes, you still look lovely in the dress. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't, we don't know. I mean, you could ask them what that was about, but I wouldn't, if you don't think that they're toxic, I wouldn't go toward the negative with it. It's probably something that, even with the imperfections, you look lovely. There you go. Hi Fancy. I'll be visiting my childhood home tomorrow for the first time since we moved. It's for sale and had lots of trauma. Do you have tips? You guys can hear me, right? Okay, yeah, it's streaming. This is so weird. Okay. You're revisiting your childhood home. Well, self-care, take breaks, set yourself up to succeed. So have ways to step away from the situation, ways to nurture yourself, grieve what you need to grieve, take breaks so that you can have emotional breaks to do what you need to do and feel what you need to feel. Have someone you can chat with about it. What do you foresee happening that you need help with on that, Fancy, that I haven't answered? Oh. Okay. Jack is saying, sounds like he's trying to put you at ease about it because he might have sensed it, you saw it, and were self-conscious. That's true too. It could have been positive. We don't know. If we're assuming someone's intentions, so we should do a whole talk on assumptions. Making assumptions. That's a good one. Yeah. Let's talk about that another time because that's a big topic. Assumptions. Okay. Yes. Childhood was taught to see 5% wrong in a situation instead of 95%. That was right. Okay. Okay. Where are we? Is there any more questions? Did I miss a question or anything? If I did, please repeat it because I'm so thrown off with the way this live stream looks right now. It's confusing me. Yes, we'll do that. Assumptions. I have to remember it though. Okay, write it down in scribbles. Okay, just seeing the rooms. Okay, just seeing the rooms and stuff that happened in them will come back. Like the closet, I remember hiding in the room. Why are you going? Is there a purpose for your going? If there is a purpose, maintain focus on that purpose. Go outside a lot. Stacy's saying she went outside a lot. Go outside a lot. That's right. Take walks. Don't stay there if you can avoid staying there. Stay somewhere else so that you have a space outside. Don't bring your stuff in. Don't bring who you are now into it, except for yourself. You know what I mean? Like, don't park yourself there. Witness it as you need to feel it. You're probably going to dissociate a lot. So understand that. And that's okay. Just know less what's going on. Assumptions. Good. Okay. We'll do that. Talk about assumptions. All right. How long have we been on? It's time to end anyway. I can't do this the way it looks. It looks too weird, and the delay is making me freaked out because it's like watching yourself now. When I see myself live and it's not it's normal, but okay. Just doing a walkthrough while it's empty. I need to witness it. You just need to witness it? Okay. Then set up self-care. Have a self-care kit with you. Something that smells nice, something that you can look at, a photograph or something that feels nice, a little piece of fabric that is soft. Maybe put a little oil on it or something that smells good. So you have double, or a scarf that is silky and soft that smells nice. Maybe something to eat afterwards that is pleasant for you. Set up something for your senses. You're going to go into a sensory experience in that house. It's going to bring back sensory experiences. So set up something for your senses to self-care yourself with. Does that make sense? And yeah, check in with people who understand what's going on. Are you on Span? So I keep forgetting to mention Spanily. The Spanily, I need to do that more often on Facebook and Spanily Home. If you need help, I need to link it in the comments as well. So if anyone is looking for peer support, we have it. Go to queenbeing.com. All the information is there. Or look us up on Facebook for the larger group. And we're going to end today with this. Yes, Span is great. It's great to have the peer support. If you need group coaching support, I offer group coaching. It's ongoing. You can start anytime. I will link it in the comments as well. So if anyone needs that, it's a great group of people. And yeah, we meet weekly. Actually, that group meets twice a week. Options for twice a week. And then we have daily messenger chat there. So there's that. Or that's it. So I guess also if you need individual coaching, I'm available for that too. All the information's in the main content of every video. So that's that. If you have not hit subscribe, please do so. If you enjoyed this, please hit the like button. And if you would like texting of when I go live, I text 10 minutes prior to. Send a text to the number 33222 and put the words Lise Live as one word, LISELIVE, and send, and I will send you a text. That's the only text I send. And that's it. You guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye. I don't even know how to end this, so that's how crazy this is. I have no idea. We may be on here for eternity because I have no idea. Oh, there. Okay. Is it live still? I don't know how to end it. Huh. Maybe if I just close it. So everybody say bye. I don't know if I'm still on or not. Okay, I'm still live. I'm just sitting here. I don't know. This is so strange. I don't even have any idea. There I'm just gonna close the YouTube. Bye. Yeah, leave